Yeast water Poolish right here. You can see it's at about peak. This would be a perfect time to use it. Just as I would use it in the same way I would make a sourdough or make a Poolish dough. Then if you look at this bad boy over here, I'm going to add some to the dough. I could throw this whole dough ball in there, but I don't want to do that much of it. I'm going to do 60 grams. Alright, let's see. Hear that? Get close so you can hear this. Alright guys, how to make yeast water. This is when I got started. I'm working on a vlog for an event I got in progress. That'll be on August 24th is the date of the event. By the time I'm done editing, probably around September 1st. But I wanted to make a video on this for you guys. This is making a yeast water. So this is a very small scale yeast water. It's only 50 grams of apples to 800 milliliters of water. Something that's good for what I'm doing. And yes, the more fruit you use, the more yeast you'll have, but also certain fruits have different amounts of yeast on them. I like this amount of apple with this amount of water for my business. I don't like using sugar or anything like that. I want it as natural as possible. But I'm going to show you that there are other options as well. So I cut off 50 grams of this red delicious apple. And I'm going to just go ahead and put the rest in there. I'm going to drop it all in my mason jar. Just to be safe, I'm going to save the stem here. You can throw it in though, doesn't make much of a difference. I'm also going to throw in a pack of raisins. This comes to about 40 grams. It says 43 grams on the thing. Says it's good until December 10th, 2023. At the pizzeria, we got a case of these packs of raisins. I probably got 50 pounds of raisins in my pantry. So, yeah, trying to make use of them. I'm going to throw these 40 grams, or try my best. Get those raisins in there. And I'm going to fill the rest with water. So this is about the other 250 milliliters from the other yeast water I just made. And I'm using spring water. I'm not going to use tap water for this. I might use tap water for the dough, but not for my culture. This is very similar to a sourdough starter, as the sourdough starter collects the wild yeast from the wheat and it's submerged in water and ferments. This doesn't require, it does require feeding actually. If you want to maintain one fruit starter, what you would do is after about 2 weeks of having it, you would you could add sugar or more fruit or something of that nature. So once you get the water in there and all your fruit in there, give it a nice shake. And what you're going to do is for anywhere from 3 to 5 days, once you see a foam head, it's ready. a good foam head. Maybe give it another 12 hours and see if the foam head increased or decreased. But yeah, you could just do 5 days. That's a good middle ground for a yeast water. What you're going to do is once every 12 hours or twice a day, basically when you wake up and before you go to bed, you're going to open it, you're going to let some air out, you're going to close it tightly and shake it, and you can actually loosen your yeast water a little bit just so you don't have to kill it to open it again later. And there you have it. So in 5 days you'll have a nice foam head after you shake it. You'll realize that. And so what you're going to do after 5 days is going to be ready to use for your dough. You're going to want to strain out the fruit. So get a sieve, pour the water into another jar, and you can discard the fruit or you can eat it. It tastes pretty good. It loses some of the flavor to the water actually. And then you're going to, in the jar that has all the water, you're going to put it in the fridge. It's good for about, I think a month is like a cap. But honestly, it's really good for up to 2 weeks. You could refresh it every 2 weeks with a little bit of sugar and maybe another slice of apple or whatever you feel. Like the weaker the refreshment, the weaker it'll be refreshed. Stronger the refreshment, the stronger it'll be refreshed. For my business, I just remake the fruit yeast so everything is consistent. But yeah, this is how you get it started. And as I said, I'm working on a video for an event I have coming up on the 24th, so you'll kind of see a way to use this. And I can also make a video of making a leaven with this water, which I basically would just mix some of the water once it's ready and fermented with flour, and it would act as almost a Poolish or a sourdough starter or a leaven. And you can use that for your bread or for your pizza. So have fun, guys. Alright. Let's close that tightly. See how that fizzes up like that? That's all natural yeast. I'll clean that up after this video. So, let's get this bad boy on the scale. I'm just going to make a Poolish, if you will. I'm going to do 100% hydration, but you can do any amount of hydration that you want to. That's a beautiful thing. I'm just going to loosely cover this. And you treat this just like a sourdough starter, basically. You want to see it pretty much double, and you're good to make some bread with it. You can even add more yeast water into the final dough if you want to. Alright guys, I'm going to show you some things you can do with your yeast water once it's done. So, I strained out all the fruit. Got this, I already used some of it. If I shake it, you can see it gets nice and foamy. I open it. Should be able to hear the fizzing. That's all the natural yeast from the fruit. So, let's say I wanted to make you can make a Poolish with this. You could do 100% hydration pre-ferment. You can make a bigo with this, or anywhere in between, whatever you want to do. You can also use this in a direct dough. I'll do both. So, let's see. I'll do 30. Once I get it, I want it to be like the size of the bottom of the cup. I'm going to press that down in my cup. I want it to be flat so I can see it on my rubber band. Great. Cover it. My glass. Looks pretty good. You can wrap that coffee filter whatever you please. I think this is actually 3 coffee filters just to make sure. So, this is my yeast water starter. You could make that like a batter to be a Poolish. You can make it a thick dough like that. You can make it a bigo where you don't even knead it together. You just shake it. You have so many options to work with yeast water. Alright, I'm going to make a yeast water direct dough. So I got my yeast water here. It's strained and it's cooled from the refrigerator. You can see that nice foam head. You can hear it fizzing. It's good to go. So I'm going to start with my yeast water. I'm going to use 120 grams. can refrigerate that. You can also drink it and it tastes amazing. I think I'm going to chug some right now. It's so good. Uh, 60 grams of cold water from the tap. Beautiful. Clean up some of this yeast water that's spilled here. Alright. So now I'm going to add 300 grams of flour. So this is 60 hydration. There we go. And right here, I'm going to take this off my scale now. Clean this guy off. Alright, so I'm going to add, I got 2% salt, 2% malt, so it's 6 grams of salt, 6% grams of malt, and by malt I mean diastatic malt powder. Just going to put all that on top of my flour, and I'm going to start mixing. So it's something like this. It's still shaggy, it's definitely far from perfect, but it was about a minute or two of kneading. That's all you really need to start. And just cover it. Give it about 15 minutes. Come back. Alright, so it's been 13 minutes. See, it's still shaggy. Put about half the oil. Start to knead it in there. Got that in there. And let's go with the rest. It's going to be goopy and make some weird sounds at first, but it'll come together. Leave that for about another 15. Alright, so this is a dough I made with 100% yeast water. All the water in the dough is yeast water, about 60% hydration. So it's got some nice fermentation. This was a direct dough. I don't want sauce to ruin the taste, so just throw some cheese, a bit of fresh garlic, some extra virgin olive oil. Next one, this is 20% of the flour's weight in yeast water, which comes out to about 2/3 of the water used at 60 hydration. They're both 2% oil, 2% salt, 2% diastatic malt powder. Because I plan on using these in either a home oven or the New York pizza oven.
It looks great.
Same deal, I'm just going to do mozzarella, fresh garlic, and olive oil. And I'm leaving some room around the outside so I can really taste the crust when it comes out. That's the most important part. And we'll see them when they're done.
Go.
Alright, so the 100% yeast water pizza is ready. I'm going to let that sit for a second. And in about a minute, the next one should be ready. Let's see the undercarriage. Not too dark, but nice, very nice. Just gonna go another minute and 30. Alright. It's nice, soft, and crunchy. There's a crumb shot. Gorgeous. Pretty nice.
Very nice, very nice.
New York pizza with yeast water. Alright, and this guy And this is the 20% of the flour's weight in yeast water, or about 2/3 of the water. You can see a nice crumb on that. It's gorgeous. Undercarriage nice and dark. And very carefully taste the crust. That's good. It's got a sweetness to it, kind of fruity actually. Beautiful.
Bellissimo.
Bellissimo. I'll try the crust on this one too. See which one I like better. More subtle, but still like way better flavor than even like a commercial yeast long cold ferment. And the texture, on point. Flop, it's got a little bit of flop, especially in the middle with all that cheese I did. Maybe I got a better slice here. A little bit of flop, but I fold it like a New Yorker, and it stays pretty sturdy. Also probably could have cooked the bottom more. It is in the morning. The stone might not be quite up to temp yet, but if it was, probably have a darker undercarriage.
Oven just turned on.
So, I would say pretty damn good, honestly. So, try it, make a yeast water, try it out, it's real fun. Alright guys, so I got my yeast water right over here. I'm going to show you a couple things that you can do with your yeast water. You can make a pre-ferment with it. Whoa, I didn't close that all the way. That was a close call. Almost lost it. The reason I didn't close it all the way is so it doesn't explode in my fridge. That backfired on me. Alright. Let's close that tightly. See how that fizzes up like that? That's all natural yeast. I'll clean that up after this video. So, let's get this bad boy on the scale. I'm just going to make a Poolish, if you will. I'm going to do 100% hydration, but you can do any amount of hydration that you want to. That's a beautiful thing. So I'm just going to do I'm just going to loosely cover this. And you treat this just like a sourdough starter, basically. You want to see it pretty much double, and you're good to make some bread with it. You can even add more yeast water into the final dough if you want to, or pizza dough, whatever you prefer. But each amount of fruit you add in the yeast water will be different, so here it is. Alright guys, I'm going to show you some things you can do with your yeast water once it's done. So, I strained out all the fruit. Got this, or I used some of it. If I shake it, you can see it gets nice and foamy. I open it. Should be able to hear the fizzing. That's all the natural yeast from the fruit. So, let's say I wanted to make you can make a Poolish with this. You could do 100% hydration pre-ferment. You make a bigo with this, or anywhere in between, whatever you want to do. You can also use this in a direct dough. I'll do both. So let's see, I'll do 30. Alright. 30 grams of yeast water, and I'll do 50 grams of flour. A little high there. I think this is actually 3 coffee filters, just to make sure. So, this is my yeast water starter. You could make that like a batter to be a Poolish. You can make it a thick dough like that. You can make it a bigo where you don't even knead it together. You just shake it. You have so many options to work with yeast water. So here's that yeast water Poolish right here. You can see it's at about peak. This would be a perfect time to use it. Just as I would use it in the same way I would make a sourdough or make a Poolish dough. Then if you look at this bad boy over here, you got a definitely doubled, possibly even a little bit more, stiff starter with the yeast water. So after waiting a little bit, Alright guys. Smells amazing. I think I let this bulk ferment a little too long, honestly. Let's see though. I wet my hands a little bit to get it out. I'm going to degas it. Pop that bad boy over here. So bulk fermentation went a little longer than anticipated. I was going to do this on my break at about 2-3 p.m. but really wasn't able to leave the restaurant. I was able to get a little break, but not enough time to come back home, do this, and then go back. So here I am at 10 p.m. Almost 10:30. Getting back to these doughs. I'm going to degas it. Basically build tension again. Give it a couple minutes and chop it up. Alright guys, I'm going to use this yeast water La Vida Madre to make a dough. Once I get to a spot like that where there's no dry flour, just cover it for a little bit. Sorry? I can always edit that. Alright, so, let's see which one this is. This is a yeast water biga dough. One that got very proof last night. Peeling away. Gonna make it real simple. Mozzarella grande, just so you know, and olive oil. It's now hot enough to darken that. And now I'm going to do yeast water Poolish. Same deal. I'll grab this pile of them. Alright, let's see. See that undercarriage? Oh yeah. See that undercarriage from right here. Beautiful. Hear that? Get close so you can hear this. See the crumb on that? There is no flop. I'm holding that by the end. That's how it's supposed to be. New York pizza with yeast water. We got the biga over here. And we got the Poolish over here. Both nice, dense New York crumb. No flop. Alright, today it's pâte fermentée, aka old dough. So I'm going to do 185 grams of water. So old dough is super cool because kind of how people have done it for a long time, a lot of bakers. So I got this dough. It's not really overproof, but it's like perfectly proofed, I'd say. Maybe a little over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some to the dough. I could throw this whole dough ball in there, but I don't want to do that much of it. I'm going to do 60 grams, just like I would sourdough starter or a Poolish or something like that. 20% of my flour's weight. So first, let's get 60 grams. Perfect. Put that back up there. Zero that back out. Put it over here so you guys can see. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to chop it up into little pieces. If you have a mixing bowl, you can skip this step and throw it in with the rest of your ingredients. I find it a little easier to do it this way. You don't have to go crazy. It's just a little easier this way. And throw that all in the water, just like it's a pre-ferment. Because in reality, your dough is a pre-ferment. Your dough behaves like a sourdough starter in the way that it rises and it falls, you know. But there's still living yeast in here, so I don't need to add any yeast to this recipe, or yeast water or anything. This is, by the way, this dough comes from a direct dough with yeast water. This was the 20% yeast water one. I'm just gonna do that a little bit. I'm gonna make my life a little easier today. I'm gonna add the oil in now. A lot of people say don't do it, but at 2% oil, it's not gonna inhibit that much gluten development. So I'm gonna zero my scale out, and I'm gonna toss this so I can kind of get rid of it. You can also reball your dough. It can be used later. As I said, there's still living yeast in here. It'll rise again eventually. You can only do that so many times, the gluten will not live that long. That's why I recommend doing this if you have leftover dough. And I'm doing 300 grams of flour. Good. I got 2% salt, 2% malt. The cool thing is, the same ratios I'm using here are the same things that are in the dough, which is pretty cool. So this can kind of live forever in a sense. Mix that together. And if you're using a mixer, sometimes it's better to add the dough about halfway through mixing, because when you have like your flour sitting on top of your water and stuff like that, it can be really high up in the bowl. But once it starts mixing, it'll drop down and be less volume, and sometimes it's easier to add the dough there so you don't overflow your mixing bowl. Not gonna lie, I learned that one from experience. At least a little scrape before I start kneading, and pop that on my surface. Wait for a sec, and begin the kneading process. Now something like that. I'll cover it for 15 minutes, come back and finish the kneading process. Alright, so I got some old dough over here. I used a little bit of a piece of a dough ball as my source of yeast for this dough. I'm going to use it, check it out, and make a pizza with it. Everything about this is from yeast water, from apples and raisins. There's no commercial yeast. And I'm going to throw this into the oven with a little bit of mozzarella and olive oil.
It's like, come on, you can almost do it. I'm like, no, I already did my workout for
Go up in the oven. A little dark. Yeah, that's beautiful.